did you have to prepare for this, other than just learn your lines?
Well, other than just learn your lines. Now, just think of what you said.
I was wondering how fast we would get to this point where you would quarrel with the question. Go ahead.
Just think of what you said, other than learning your lines.
That's not easy.
How many things do you know by heart? Any poems, maybe a national anthem, a prayer or two? Yes?
Not many.
Have you sat down and studied a poem when you were at school or whatever?
Of course.
And did you learn it?
Yes.
And did it take a long time?
Yes.
Right.
So learning your lines is not easy, so don't dismiss it.
The old, not only is it easy, it isn't not just a question of learning your lines. What it is, the old-fashioned word for it was study. You go alone, you have no observer, no interlocutor, an unobserved, uninhibited, private study is the backbone of any fine actor or actress.
And whenever you have stepped on stage or the first day of shooting on a film, you have known your lines.
Of course.
Professional pride, responsibility.
Well, it's like painting without using a brush. How can you? Stick it on with your fingers.
Well, lots of people, like Marlon Brando, used to write it on his hand and all that stuff.
I mean, Marlon began, don't forget, Marlon was, they talk about Marlon in his hand, and how the whole method school and all that based on Marlon and on the waterfront. And
right.
I heard an actor say the other day he doesn't need words. I just thought, hang on, what have you said? That was a performance of one of the most difficult parts in the English language. Stanley Kowalski and Tennessee Williams, Streetcar Named Desire, one of the great 20th century playwrights, with this poetic, complex, curious dialogue. And Marlon had played that for 2 years. He'd done that performance thousands of times, not hundreds, thousands. So when he turned up to do it, of course it wasn't about words. He knew all that. He'd performed it. He performed it dozens of times. The same thing happened with the Moscow Arts Theatre when they came here. Oh dear, what's this method thing? They had been playing a Tsarist repertory from 1898 until 1923. They were still churning out the same old plays with the same old company. So what made it so spontaneous seeming, which is what we're supposed to do, and what made it so electrifying in its naturalness was the fact that it was so completely rehearsed and so completely performed.
I bet you're right. I beg your pardon about
So
that. But there. So there. All right, moving on.